So now you know what a key center is and how it can help you. Let's see at two common modulations. Two modulations that are so common that it is good to really study those, that you can almost predict how a song will evolve or what the next chord will be while you are playing, and you will be able to play by ear, because you really, if you practice those root movements a bit, then you will be able to really hear it, just because it's so common to you. So there we go, two common root key center movements or modulations. Here you have the tone clock with the C major scale. Just to show you here how the root movement can be written in the clock. So if the chords are within one key center, then it goes from the 7th to the 3rd to the 4th. So you have a 7-3, 4-2, 5-1 progression, which ends at the 4th scale degree, with here the chord symbols in the key of C. Let's see what happens if you are in the key center of C and the tune modulates a quarter up. So it goes from C, by the way, so it goes from C to F. By the way, the blue dot that you see here at the C major 7, that's the symbol for the name of the key center. So that blue dot will now shift to F. Let's have a look. Here it's shifted to F, and what you see is that the whole figure shifts 1 hour clockwise, and the B isn't no longer in the key center. It was in the key center of C, but key B is no longer, and B has given its place to B flat. So B dropped a half step down to B flat. And that's what I'm going to show you here, that actually what happens is that certain notes will be flattened with a half note, and that's going on all the time. Although at a certain point we use sharps, but actually that's a musical theory thing I will show you in a couple of slides. But every time there are notes that will drop a half note. So here what happened, I go back one slide. So we went from C to F, and B became B flat. And let's see what happens if we go clockwise again. We go up a fourth, we go to the key of B flat, and then E becomes E flat. So first B became B flat, now E became E flat, and so on. A becomes A flat if we modulate from B flat to E flat. Again, D becomes D flat, half step down, and we go a fourth up again, and we modulate from A flat to D flat, and now G became G flat. And now be careful, because we go to the key of G flat. Let's have a look here, G flat. And G flat is kind of a turning point. Here in music theory, people like to shift from a flatted key to a sharp key. So G flat and F sharp are exactly the same. On the piano, in music notation you see new notes, but on the piano it's exactly the same note. On the harmonica it's exactly the same notes. Just from a music theory's point of view, people like to use sharps from now on instead of flats, but the same notes. So here we are in the key of F sharp, and to get there, the note C drop down a half step to a B. So what happens if F sharp modulates? Then we go to the key of B. Here we are. We go to the key of B, and the note F dropped a half note to E. So also here, the notes, it is a sharp key, but to modulate to a new key, to the fourth up, the notes become, a specific note becomes a half tone lower. Here we go, from B we're going to modulate to E, and what happens is that A sharp, or B flats, the same note, went down a half step to A. There we go, we modulate again. From E we go to A, and now D sharp became D. Yeah, and you see that in my tone clock I already start writing B flat, because if we're going to modulate further, then we first going to use the flats, and then suddenly at G flat it's going to be F sharp, and we use the sharps. So we modulate now from A to D, and the G sharp became a G. Again, we modulate, and we are now in the key of G, and the C sharp became a C. And once again from G we modulate to C, and here the F sharp became an F. Yeah, let's do this again. So from C we go to F, then we go to B flat, up, and here it's the turning point from flats. So up to D flat we use flats, and G flat becomes F sharp. Then we use sharps, but as soon as the sharp is dropped, the B flat comes in, the E flat comes in the clock, up, and here we are back in the key of C. So, graphically and orally as well, it's just a matter of frequencies that shift, and in the clock it's just a matter of turning a figure within the clock. But because of music theory, we have this shift from flats to sharps. But actually there's no problem at all if you want to learn to think just in flats instead of also integrating the sharps. I will show you that in an overview. It's the next slide. So here you see what you have to study if you want to study the modulation of root movement up by fourth. So in the key of F, B becomes a B flat. Then E becomes an E flat, and you are in the key of B flat. Then an A becomes an A flat, and you are in the key of E flat. A D becomes a D flat, then you are in the key of A flat, etc., etc. See, in the middle, G flat becomes F sharp, and then you see the sharps. That's just because of music theory. If you don't want to use that kind of music theory, here's the same overview. And you see that in the middle, C becomes B, the key of G flat. Then F becomes an E, key of B. B flat, I use the flats here, not the sharps, you see. B flat becomes an A in the key of E. E flat becomes a D in the key of A. A flat becomes a G, etc., etc., etc. So if you like, you can use this overview. So that was the modulation up in fourth. There's also an important modulation down in seconds. And what happens if you go down a major second? Actually, a major second is this same figure, but you go twice clockwise. So, for instance, we go from C down a major second, and then the whole figure shifts to B flat, like you will see here. Again, up. From here we go to B flat. And you see that 2 notes lowered a half step at once. So here we went from C to B flat. And the E dropped to E flat and the B dropped to B flat. The same happens here. A dropped a half tone to A flat and D dropped a half tone to D flat. The same here, the same here, the same here. It's just the same theory, but yeah. So what happens is that modulation down a second happens when a major chord becomes a minor chord and then the dominant seventh, and then it resolves to the, for instance, the tonic. And here you see that same overview and grouped with the specific chord symbols on the left side. And because it's a whole step down, actually you see the whole tone scale. So if you look at the major, if you look vertical at the major seventh chords, then you see a whole tone scale from C, B flat, A flat, G flat, E, D, C, which is a whole tone scale. It's the same with the other chords. And in the previous video you saw that a whole tone scale, there are 2 of them, because you can only turn it 6 times and then it becomes the same figure. So you also have to study this overview to be able to study it in all 12 keys. Yeah, so in the previous overview you have 6 keys, and in this one a half tone difference. It's the other whole tone scale. Yeah, with this one you can study it in all 12 keys. So that's it. That is how modulations look like within the tone clock or the circular fourth. And I gave you 2 types of modulations that are so common that it's really worth studying, because this way you will learn to see it instantly, get it physically, the muscles prepared to play this kind of modulations, and you will hear it instantly. So what I also will do is use 2 Aebersold tracks and play these modulations for you on the harmonica. That will be in a separate audio track that you can find on my Effortless harmonica blog. Hope you liked it, and hope to see you a lot in the future on the Effortless harmonica blog at www.effortlessharmonica.com. Have a nice day and a lot of success. Ciao.